In the hours leading up to the calamity, the tent camp in Gaza was a patchwork of makeshift homes, each one telling a story of displacement yet brimming with the day-to-day resilience of its inhabitants. Children's laughter mingled with the sounds of cooking as families prepared their evening meals, hopeful yet vigilant under the persistent shadow of conflict. The camp, a temporary refuge for those who had already lost so much, was bustling with life, its occupants clinging to a semblance of normalcy amidst uncertainty. Women traded stories and shared recipes as they watched over their children, while men discussed the day's news, their conversations punctuated by the distant yet ever-present sounds of drones overhead. It was a community knit together by shared hardship, their bonds forged in the crucible of survival. The air, though heavy with the weight of impending threat, carried the resilient spirit of a people determined to hold on to their humanity against all odds. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows and bathing the camp in a golden, uneasy light, no one could have predicted the horror that was about to unfold. The relative peace of the evening was a cruel prelude to the tragedy that would soon strike, shattering lives and dreams in an instant. It was a poignant moment of calm, poised precariously on the edge of disaster, a stark reminder of the fragility of life in this contested land. Children drew pictures in the dirt, their innocent play a stark contrast to the looming danger that none of them could foresee. An elderly man sat outside his tent, his eyes reflecting the weight of memories and the uncertainty of the future. A young couple held hands, finding solace in each other amidst the chaos, their love a small beacon of hope in a sea of despair. Volunteers moved through the camp, distributing aid and trying to bring some relief to the residents, their efforts a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. Children played soccer, their laughter echoing through the camp, a fleeting moment of joy in an otherwise grim reality. As nightfall descended, the atmosphere grew tense, the camp's residents bracing themselves for whatever the night might bring. The airstrike came without warning, a deadly deluge from the skies that turned the tent camp into a scene of chaos and carnage. As the bomb struck, the air was filled with the sounds of explosions, followed by screams and the anguished cries of the wounded. Tents that had stood moments before as symbols of temporary sanctuary were reduced to smoldering ruins, their fabric unable to withstand the fury unleashed from above. The ground, littered with belongings and the remnants of shattered lives, bore witness to the brutality of the assault. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, their faces set in grim determination as they navigated the debris, searching for survivors amidst the devastation. The injured were many, their wounds a testament to the indiscriminate nature of the attack. Families torn apart by loss clung to each other, their grief palpable in the smoke-filled air. The chaos was overwhelming, a visceral portrait of human suffering on an unimaginable scale. As the dust began to settle, the full extent of the tragedy became apparent. Dozens were dead, many more were injured, and countless others were left homeless, their already precarious lives thrown into further disarray. The camp, once a place of refuge, was now a graveyard of dreams, a stark reminder of the cost of war. The survivors, dazed and heartbroken, faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives from the ashes of destruction. The international community reacted with horror and condemnation, but for those on the ground, the reality was a relentless struggle for survival. The airstrike not only destroyed homes but also shattered the fragile sense of security that the displaced families had fought so hard to build. In the face of such devastation, the resilience of the human spirit was both challenged and demonstrated, as survivors began the slow and painful process of healing and reconciliation. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a decades-long struggle over land, identity, and sovereignty, sets the backdrop to this heart-rending event. This conflict, punctuated by sporadic bouts of violence and failed peace efforts, has deeply entrenched animosities and perpetuated a cycle of retaliation and suffering. The airstrike on the tent camp in Gaza is not an isolated incident, but a manifestation of the broader tensions that simmer between Israel and Palestine. Historically, the region has been a flashpoint of geopolitical strife, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The State of Israel, established in 1948, has been in constant conflict with its Palestinian neighbors, who seek recognition and a state of their own. International interventions have repeatedly tried to broker peace, yet a lasting solution has remained elusive. with each side holding firm to its claims and grievances. The cycle of violence is fueled by a complex array of political, religious, and cultural factors that make the conflict particularly intractable. For the Palestinians, the fight is for national liberation and self-determination, a response to years of displacement and occupation. For Israelis, security concerns and historical claims to the land guide their actions, leading to a fortified stance against perceived threats. This dynamic creates a volatile environment where peace initiatives are frequently undermined by acts of aggression from both sides. In this context, airstrikes such as the one that devastated the tent camp are often justified by Israel as necessary security measures against militant threats. However, the high civilian toll and the destruction of essential infrastructure provoke widespread criticism and deepen the chasm of mistrust. The international community remains divided, with some nations supporting Israel's right to defend itself, and others condemning the disproportionate use of force against Palestinian civilians. Amidst the rubble of the destroyed tent camp, personal stories of survival and loss emerge, painting a human face on the tragedy. One such story is that of Hala, a young mother who lost her 2 children in the airstrike. Her tale is one of unimaginable sorrow, a poignant reminder of the human cost of conflict. Hala, who had once dreamed of returning to her family home, now mourns the loss of her children, her hopes buried beneath the ruins of the tent that was their last refuge. Another survivor, Ahmed, a teacher, was preparing his lessons when the bombs fell. He survived, but his makeshift classroom did not. With resilience etched into his every word, Ahmed speaks of his determination to continue teaching to provide some semblance of normalcy and hope for the children who survived. Education is the light in our darkness, he says, his voice a mix of defiance and despair. Then there is the story of Yusuf, an elderly man who had lived through multiple conflicts, his life a testament to the enduring spirit of the Palestinian people. Yusuf's wisdom, tempered by years of loss, provides a beacon of strength for his community. He advocates for peace and reconciliation, even as he grieves the destruction of his home. We must build bridges, not walls, he insists, his eyes reflecting both the pain of the past and the hope for a better future. These stories, and countless others like them, resonate with a profound impact, turning statistics into heartbreak, policy debates into personal tragedies. The voices of the survivors are crucial in understanding the true impact of the conflict, reminding the world that behind the headlines are real people, with real suffering. They call for empathy, for action, and for an end to the cycle of violence that has robbed so many of their loved ones, their homes, and their peace. The aftermath of the airstrike on the tent camp in Gaza casts a long shadow over the prospects for peace in the region. This tragic event underscores the fragility of any peace process and highlights the urgent need for a renewed commitment to finding a sustainable solution. The cycle of retaliatory violence, exemplified by the airstrike, not only claims lives but also hardens attitudes, making the path to reconciliation increasingly arduous. The international response to the airstrike has been a mixture of condemnation and calls for restraint. Many world leaders and human rights organizations have urged both Israel and Palestine to return to the negotiating table, emphasizing that peace can only be achieved through dialogue, not violence. However, the deep-seated mistrust and the legacy of repeated failures in peace talks pose significant challenges to any hopeful initiatives. Moreover, the impact of such events on the civilian population can have long-lasting psychological effects, fostering a generation that could hold on to resentment and anger. Healing these wounds requires more than just political agreements. It demands a comprehensive approach that addresses the social, economic, and emotional needs of the people. Initiatives that promote understanding, tolerance, and cooperation are essential to pave the way for a stable and peaceful future. In conclusion, the airstrike on the displaced civilians in Gaza is a stark reminder of the human toll of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. As the region stands at a crossroads, the choices made today will determine the course of its future. Will it be a future dominated by conflict and division, or will the leaders and people choose a path of reconciliation and peace? The world watches and waits, hoping for the latter, but prepared for the difficulties that lie ahead. If you enjoyed this video and would like to continue watching content like this, please support us by giving a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.